I can't even begin to explain what happened in Denver or Mile High. But usually I'll come in with an energetic attitude and be excited about the reaction, recap about the game, or in a positive sense or a normal mindset, I can say, to give you a reaction of what just happened in the post game. But this time around, it's not the same energy. Because you guys, welcome to the show. This is Culture Shock. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. For another episode this week, we're going to be reacting to the Denver Broncos versus the Indianapolis Colts, in which the Denver Broncos wind up defeating the Colts. The score was 13-31 in a game which was so close the whole game around, getting towards the end. That's when the epic collapse happened. But unfortunately, like I said, this Colts team is a cardiac Colts team. Like, of course, when something's going good, of course, it's not going to end in a positive way. And I always had this mindset this whole year is whatever side of the ball is performing, the other side is going to have a bad day. And this was not even to think about. This wasn't even a normal collapse or like fail job. All around was just like, what are we experiencing? From the lateral play with AD Mitchell throwing the football to a pick six, the fumble, the interceptions. It was just like an epic collapse. The Broncos scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. The whole game, the Colts had the lead. They had the lead until the end of the third, going into the fourth, and they had a chance to win it. But the Colts just did not want to win the game, so it was something that you could not even think. And with everything being at stake, with the playoffs being on the line, you would think the Colts would have had a little type of sense of playing with urgency or something of that nature. But it's just a way of being in disbelief. We can start with Anthony Richardson's performance. I think, starting the game off in the opening, he had himself a solid game. I think he was performing enough to, try to will this team into victory. And then the defense was playing out of its mind, as usual. Like I said, the defense all year around has been playing out of its mind, and we have to give credit where credit is due. They turned the season around and gave them a chance to try to make a push and to try to make some noise, but the offense just could not figure it out. Again, the epic drops from the receivers is just unacceptable performance. Of course, Michael Pippen Jr. had himself a rough game. Josh Downs was the only guy out there that had a pair of hands that can go out there and try to make a play. AD Mitchell couldn't figure it out. The tight end room, of course, we know what that situation is with the tight ends. They couldn't figure it out. But like I said, Anthony Richardson was trying to make something happen out of nothing. And of course, it put him in some bad plays. But I think overall, he just needed help. The offensive line didn't do him any justice with the penalties that's been going on all year. That just happened to trickle over into the game as well. The protections was poor. Honestly, it's like something needs to change in Indianapolis. We don't know what the situation may be. Of course, a lot of you might figure it out what needs to change, and of course, you might mention it as well. But honestly, it's just this can't keep happening and trickling down into the same effect every year. I think we've been going through this long enough to figure out, okay, something has to change and it needs to happen now, in order to be successful. Of course, you got so much talent on this team, and it's just being wasted after the repeated mistakes and miscues over the years just continue to happen, and nothing changes. Something has to be changed. Jonathan Taylor, we honestly, I've been screaming for him to get in the end zone to score a touchdown. And the one moment he had it, he just dropped the ball. It's something that you would not even think out of Jonathan Taylor to do. But like I said, this team it just doesn't want to be successful. I just feel like they're not hungry enough, honestly. And this is a team that had 310 total yards. The defense held the Broncos under 200 yards total. That's winning football right there. You can't make it up. That is literally winning football. Holding the Broncos team, which is one of the best teams in the league, um, as of this season, under 200 yards, you have to win that game. It's no way you lose that game. But like I said, the Colts allowed 2 sacks. They punted 5 times. The offense couldn't figure it out. They were 2 for 4 on fourth down. They had more plays. They converted more plays. They were 4 for 15 on third down, which couldn't be acceptable. But they had 18 first downs as well. But they had 8 penalties. 3 lost fumbles, 2 interceptions, and they controlled the clock. So how do you lose this game if you're Shane Steichen? How do you, with all of these advantages on your side, how do you still lose a game? Bo Nix had a terrible game, but he locked it in the fourth. But that's only because the defense allowed it because of the energy that they lost trying to be on the field and making a play. You cannot blame the defense for those losses. I felt like this defense did all it could, like it's been doing all year. They did their best they could, but the offense and the game plan just couldn't work. It just couldn't work on the offensive side. I'm not even going to slander Anthony Richardson because I feel like he tried to do what he could, but he just had no help. He had no help. He was a one-man band, in my opinion. Jonathan Taylor, he was rushing, but if you look at the game, it felt like he wasn't even doing anything. No damage was being done really. It was 149 rushing yards, 161 passing yards, 310 total yards, 4.3 yards per play. This Colts team had a chance to win this game and sneak into the playoffs. But again, they let us down by, just playing unexcusable, undisciplined football. And you just cannot allow that to happen. Both of these teams look like they did not want to be in the playoffs. But the Broncos figured it out at the end and just pretty much did what they were supposed to do to get the W. It's that simple. And that's just the mentality you got to have. Bend but don't break. That's what the Broncos had. They had a chance to feel like this game was over, but they wind up locking it in and figuring it out and dialing down and getting the job done. Like I said, Bo Nix, this is one of his worst performances all season, in my opinion. And this defense did what they could, but they just couldn't figure it out for the Colts. The Colts just couldn't figure it out how to win the game. They just couldn't figure out how to win the game. It was so frustrating to watch because it got to a point where you just wanted to turn the game off and not watch it at all. When you was up the whole game, you just had an epic collapse in the second half like that. It's just unacceptable. Of course, there's a lot of fans that just want the regime to be over in Indianapolis and just start over fresh, with Anthony Richardson and things of that nature. But it's just not that simple. So hopefully we'll get some answers, and hopefully it's not the same answers we've been getting every year in the end of the season, but something has to change, and I don't know what that may be, but they got to figure it out if they want to take the next step. I mean, Richardson, he's taking a step. This offense has to take a step, and this defense has figured out. It looks like Gus Bradley might be staying, just due to the success he had this year. I know that's not a lot, not what the Colts fans want to hear, but it's just the reality of the fact that he's been the most successful on this team, coaching wise. It's definitely been Gus Bradley. So, like I said, the epic collapse in the fourth quarter is something that was bound to happen anyway. But it is what it is at the end of the day. So, I mean, hopefully the Colts could figure it out. Hopefully we can get some answers to the situation. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section. This is Culture Shock, and I will see you guys next time.